It may come as a surprise to some of you that the U.S. government does not collect information on you. We, as a government website, are not allowed to know or keep track of who's writing to us or to have, interact with them other than to post answers. So it's completely unlike the commercial world, where, as you all know, there are probably untold numbers of bits on everything. Every commercial thing you've ever done, everything you've bought, everything you've read, it's all in their records, but not in the U.S. government records. At least I don't think so. But I got questions, and I've just selected a few, and I'm certainly not going to ask you to read them all. It's just going to go through and point out a few. And, of course, Nibiru was a main subject. One thing is they got Nibiru mixed up with the dwarf planet Eris, which is out beyond Pluto and was discovered by Mike Brown, who's talked here in this lecture series. So a guy says, I'm glad you say Nibiru doesn't exist, but Eris exists. And they say they were going to call it Xena. On the NASA website, when you type in Nibiru, Eros comes up instead and says it's the 10th planet. So it's Eros coming toward us. Eris, excuse me. And then I've got other things. Why are you hiding the orbit of Eris? When is Eris going to come close to the Earth? Is Eris going to destroy the Earth? People want to know about South Telescope. What's the main purpose for building a South Pole telescope? Is it to watch Nibiru? And then I love this. If you're building it in the south, why not build one at the North Pole too? They don't teach geography very well these days. A lot of people kept saying you could see it. A little over a year ago, they said May 2009, people will be able to view it all around the Earth. And our hoax campaign denying it will be in trouble. One of the ways that showed up was last summer. Do you all remember how beautiful and brilliant Jupiter was last summer? I got questions from all over the world. People say, how can you deny Nibiru? I can see it every night. It's the brightest thing in the sky. And, of course, it was in the sky the summer before that, too. It'll be in the sky this summer. I bet I got a lot of people who say they're seeing Nibiru. One guy said that in his neighborhood, the people were out with telescopes in their backyard watching Nibiru. Probably Jupiter, but I guess it's good. They had telescopes and were looking at the sky. One of the things that has come up over and over is pole shifts. And this is a little bit subtle because the Earth's magnetic field does reverse from time to time. Quite long intervals, about 400,000 years on average between reversals. But we can see this from the geologic record because the different polarities of the field are frozen into lavas that you can date. So, it is true, scientifically, someday the Earth's pole will change north for south. Probably not suddenly, but over maybe a period of a few thousand years. We don't know when, and the last time it happened, there weren't any people around to record it. Fine. But what so many websites did is pull a bait and switch. They would start by saying scientists agree that the magnetic pole can shift. And then without even saying it, they would subtly shift into it's the rotation pole that shifts. In other words, if the rotation pole shifts, the Earth reverses direction and goes the other way. And I don't know if it's intentional or not, but I can't tell you how many websites or comments sent to websites confuse the two. And if I say the rotation pole has never flipped, it's never even changed rapidly, they'll come back quoting somebody else saying, oh, but this scientist said the pole shifts, and they're talking about magnetic. But at any rate, a lot of people think that this is going to be the main form of destruction. Not that Nibiru is going to crash into the Earth, but that something is going to cause the pole to shift suddenly. Toward the end, you see one here. Often this is attributed to NASA. Don't know why. According to NASA scientists, the Earth will stand still for about 3 days, and then in 1 hour, rotate a full 90 degrees, the geographical pole shift, during which time winds will be an average of 200 miles per hour. Every volcano on Earth will erupt, and there will be many earthquakes, so 2/3 of the Earth population will die in that 1 hour. And this is the sort of thing, if you believe it, you would be scared. Now we're talking about a mechanism for doomsday. All we have to do is stop the Earth, spin it the other way, flip it around by 90 degrees, have all the volcanoes erupt, all the earthquakes go, And you know, that's what happened in the movie 2012, too. Must be true. Another popular subject are alignments. A couple of people wrote to me, asked me to define alignment, and I can't. A planetary alignment. Is it two-dimensional or three-dimensional? Are planets aligned when you look up in the sky and see three sort of in a line? Or do you have to look at it three-dimensionally and say, you know, they're spaced out in the solar system? I don't know what people are talking about, but there is a profound belief on many people's part that a planetary alignment must be important. Well, of course, the gravity's lined up, the tides, they're all pulling together. That's bound to do something bad to Earth, isn't it? And then what really gets serious is it's an alignment of the sun with the center of the galaxy. And that is what's going to happen. Professor John Mayer Jenkins says that was what the Mayans understood. They knew there was a black hole in the center of the galaxy. And they knew that on 2012, the sun would be aligned with it. And then clearly that would focus all those terrible rays from the black hole onto the Earth and do something awful. There are various other things. There was people said that at that point the Earth will go through the dark rift in the Milky Way and be swallowed up. How many of you have ever seen the dark rift in the Milky Way? Maybe a few. It's up there if you get away from the sky and the lights of the town in the summer. It's just a place where there are a lot of dust clouds partially blocking our view of the center of the galaxy. So it's a dark spot with the Milky Way around it. We're going to be swallowed up in it. Another thing, you'd be surprised how many people said, not that the sun was going to be aligned with the center of the Milky Way, but it was going to be in the center. That the solar system in 2012 would pass through the center of our galaxy, 30,000 light years away, and encounter the black hole. And that's what would do us in. Well, you know, it just goes on and on. Some people just say, explain to me. I want to know the how, when, and for how long the alignment will take place. And then I love this last one. She said, I'm interested in the alignment of the sun with the galactic center on December 21st, 2012, a once in 25,000 years occurrence. What will I be able to see? I can't wait to get up that morning and welcome this remarkable celestial event. Now, I'm not at all clear how she thought she was going to see the Milky Way behind the sun on that morning, but she thought that was going to be a really cool thing to see. I've talked to you already about solar storms, where I think NASA has been among those, and Michio Kaku, who have added to this fear. And of course, the movie Knowing, which I haven't talked about before, says the world will end because of being incinerated by a giant solar flare. And the movie 2012 blames everything on a solar flare or solar outburst to destabilize the Earth. Now, what I thought was interesting, again, we scientists have to worry about being misunderstood. I think some of the people that write the pseudoscience want to be misunderstood. We would rather not. I thought it was interesting. Toward the bottom, someone said, my husband says there will be a huge solar storm, and that will cause floods and winds and destroy many cities. Now, a solar storm, as you know, is just the name for an outburst on the sun, 93 million miles away. It is not going to cause rain and winds on the Earth. Another one said, they say flares are emitted by the sun and causes havoc, like tsunamis, earthquakes, and strong winds. Another one says, well, since the flare is going to happen, what should we do? Should we begin to store student water for when that happens? I don't think we should be afraid of the sun. But you're beginning to get the picture that people are afraid of a lot of things. And they're certainly afraid of the government. Or they hate the government. Or they're angry at the government. This is a phenomenon that is basically new to me. And as an employee of the government, maybe I'm not the right person to talk to you because you may think I'm the enemy. But an awful lot of people think so. One said that NASA, NASA, stands for Never a Straight Answer. I didn't say that. They did. But you can just look at some of these. One person says, if you're giving me this answer about Nibiru, do you have full access to everything in NASA? Is NASA really controlled by the Masons and the Illuminati? Others are more straightforward. You, the governments, and the liars that lie in our faces about the truth will not have much time to keep lying. Governments know what's going to happen, but they won't tell you because there's nothing you can do. This planet is doomed. And a lot of people would start by saying, I know you're going to lie to me, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Here's one. I hope I can get an honest answer and not a lie. Not that you're really going to tell me the truth, are you? I will not take kindly to someone endangering my family because they want to keep a secret. And it was just signed ex-military.